Good evening. Concerns have been raised about how construction work is being carried out at HS2 sites in Buckinghamshire during the lockdown. The company in charge of the rail project was told 3 weeks ago that construction could resume as long as workers adhered to social distancing rules. But campaigners say those rules are being breached and they want final designs in place before any more construction takes place. Peter Cooke reports.
Not the examples of social distancing the government or workers' unions will want to see. This is a HS2 site at Steeple Claydon in Buckinghamshire today. One local MP and other residents also claim contractors are putting pressure on local shops by ignoring social distancing rules.
It's my understanding that all HS2 Limited contractors must stay on site where they're working. They should not be going out into local stores or other amenities, which is, when they do that, they really worry local people about whether they're spreading the virus and making it more risky for residents of Steeple Claydon or other villages affected, whether they are safe to go in those stores themselves.
This workforce are moving hundreds of miles up and down the country to attend local work sites in small communities. They're using facilities that are there for the vulnerable and elderly to use, which is putting all the communities at great risk of Covid-19.
Campaigners remain concerned how the project's preparatory work is affecting the countryside.
I have spent 36 years planting trees here and putting right agricultural deprivation. My reward from a grateful society is that someone's come along and destroying it. The bailiffs who turned up here just smashed 2 5-metre holes through a hedge that I planted. I physically planted all of those.
Meanwhile, some think the scheme should be suspended until lockdown measures are loosened and there's a final design in place.
While people say that HS2 is a necessity, it's not a necessity now. It could be a necessity in a year, 2 years' time. The biggest problem the government and people of this country want to know at the minute is that we're going to go back to some form of normality. HS2, doing mediocre works up and down the country at the minute, is not doing anything for the country.
Last month, the government gave approval for full construction work on the HS2 project to begin, despite the ongoing pandemic. HS2 Limited said it's investigating an incident of contractors using local amenities and has reiterated its advice for staff to avoid shops. It added it's continuously reviewing official guidelines about social distancing safety for its staff and the local communities they're working in. The Department for Transport has said the government's top priority is to stop the spread of coronavirus, but it should not delay work on its long-term plan to level up the country.
The claim that HS2 will heal the north-south divide is a massive overstatement. If we look at what's happened in other countries, Spain, France, South Korea, where these kinds of high-speed lines have been introduced, that simply hasn't happened. What's more likely to happen is that it will attract further people to work in London from an even wider distance, and it will enable firms in London to serve markets in the regions much more easily. So most of the advantages of this investment will accrue to London and the South East rather than to the regional cities.